Hello, this is Ryan Scott, the lead columnist for D3Hoops.com, doing a quick explainer about one of the possible scenarios on our bracket and an issue we've discovered with the NCAA mileage calculator. And we want to thank Matt Snyder of the D3 Datacast who brought it to our attention. We've been investigating since he brought this up. So what you see in front of you is the men's basketball bracket, which is governed by what we call the 500-mile rule in the NCAA. If the distance between a team and where they're playing is 499 miles or less, the NCAA pays for a bus for them to get there. If it's 500 miles or more, they provide a plane flight. And because of the limited budget in Division III, we really try to keep as often as possible the teams under 500 miles. Where that comes to play in this tournament this year is in this Trinity bracket. There are other places, but this is the one that we're interested about today. If all of the seeds from this quadrant go through, Trinity would be the top seed there. Montclair State would be presumably the fourth seed in this quadrant. And Randolph-Macon would be the second. All of those are well within 500 miles of Trinity, Connecticut. They can drive there, no problem. Christopher Newport would be the 3 seed here. And that's where things become interesting. So if you plug Christopher Newport in to the NCAA official mileage calculator and go to Trinity, Connecticut, you get a calculation of 514 miles. Which is over the limit. There would be a plane flight involved in this. However, what's really interesting is if you put Christopher Newport in and then add Virginia Wesleyan, you get just 27 miles away. They're very close institutions. And then you plug Virginia Wesleyan in, and we go back to Trinity, Connecticut, you get 469. And if you add 27 to 469, you're only at 496 miles, which would be under the limit. And Christopher Newport would therefore be drivable if somehow they went from their school to Virginia Wesleyan and then to Trinity. What it means is that if we go back, it won't let me go back on this. If we go back to Christopher Newport to Trinity, you get the 514 miles. This is not the shortest distance. When we talk to the NCAA about that, they've kind of pushed us around to a bunch of different people. I'm not sure anyone knows how this mileage calculator actually works, but we keep being told that this is the shortest distance between two schools. And clearly we've proven that's not true. If we look at the map, you can see 1 Avenue of the Arts, the exact address that's in the NCAA mileage calculator for Christopher Newport, and then 300 Summit Street in Hartford, Connecticut, where it is for Trinity. The fastest route to get there is to go up I-95. I mean, it's debatable whether it's fastest. You see all the construction, and there's certainly traffic that way. But the way that Google tends to think is usually the fastest is this one that comes out at 514 miles, right? What we have, and if you go from Virginia Wesleyan and Virginia Beach, you have this route up through the Delmarva Peninsula here, and over the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel. Down here, as you go across the entrance to Chesapeake Bay, there's a combination of bridge over the water and tunnels under the water. This has a toll that for coach buses is $40 each way. And we're curious if indeed that 514 is the route that they want us to go up on I-95, if maybe they're taking into consideration the cost of the tolls for this. And if there's some sort of balance when that was created. We have not heard back from the NCAA on that. But if you go this direction, that is where you find the 496-mile route. This will not necessarily come into play here because Trinity is likely to host regardless of whether they fly Christopher Newport there or put them on a bus. But it does come into play for Christopher Newport hosting in a number of different situations. We've found the same mileage problem for any team in New England. So Wesleyan is another one that appears to be over 500 miles from Christopher Newport, but in actuality is not if you use the Virginia Wesleyan first thing. And the mileage works out the same all the way up. Several years ago in the women's tournament, Christopher Newport was denied a chance to host. At the time, we were working with a 600-mile radius instead of a 500-mile radius, and it was said that Tufts and Christopher Newport were more than 600 miles apart. And so in order to save flights, they moved that to a place in between. If you do this same process for Tufts and Christopher Newport and going to Virginia Wesleyan first, you find out it's less than 600 miles, right? And so even though the NCAA mileage calculator is the official way to calculate mileage, we're not sure it's actually doing what it says it is. Now, the possibility is they are taking in tolls and some of those other things into consideration as part of the mileage calculator, but we have yet to hear back from the NCAA about how it's constructed and whether anything beyond straight distance is included. So until then, we'll have to find out, I guess, if Christopher Newport and Trinity both end up in the same second weekend quadrant, whether they're getting on a plane or a bus. Thanks.